What terrifies people the most isn't your anger, it isn't your words, it's your silence, because silence means they no longer have control over you. Silence means they've lost access to your mind, your emotions, your reactions, the very things they use to manipulate. You see, people expect noise when they hurt you. They expect you to explain, to argue, to defend, to chase. But when you stay silent, when you walk away without a single word, that's when it hits them. That's when they realize you don't need them. Epictetus once said, "No man is free who is not master of himself." And that's exactly what your silence represents. Mastery. Mastery over your emotions. Mastery over your peace. Mastery over the chaos they tried to drag you into. Silence is your power move. It's your way of saying, "I'm done playing small. I'm done explaining myself to people who never listened. I am calm, I am grounded, and I am free." So if you've ever wondered why silence feels so powerful, this is your answer. It's because silence doesn't beg, it doesn't chase, it doesn't prove. Silence simply shows. And before we go deeper, I want you to drop this affirmation in the comments right now. My silence is not weakness, it's wisdom. I do not react, I rise. Let's begin. Number 1. Silence shifts the power back to you. Here's the truth. The moment you stop reacting, the power dynamic changes. People who try to control you rely on your emotional response. They feed off your explanations, your justifications, your anger. It's how they confirm that they still matter to you, that they still have influence. But when you go silent, you remove their oxygen. You take away the energy source that keeps their control alive. Silence says, "You no longer have access to my peace." And that's the ultimate power move. Marcus Aurelius once said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." Realize this, and you will find strength. That means when you control your reaction, you reclaim control over the entire situation. You can't stop what people do, but you can decide what gets a response from you. And that decision, that's where your strength lives. Understand this clearly. Silence is not avoidance. It's strategy. It's emotional judo. You use their expectations against them. They want chaos. You give them calm. They want arguments. You give them peace. They want control. You give them silence. And when you do that, they lose. Because nothing breaks a manipulator faster than realizing you don't need to say a word to win. Next time someone tries to bait you into reacting, pause, feel the emotion rise, and then let it go. Ask yourself, does this deserve my peace? If the answer is no, stay silent. Let them drown in the noise they created. Because silence doesn't just protect your power, it proves you own it. Number 2, silence reveals who they really are. When you go silent, you do more than protect your peace. You expose their truth. Because silence is the mirror that reflects a person's real intentions. When your words stop feeding their ego, when your attention is no longer theirs to control, that's when their mask begins to slip. People who truly care about you will respect your silence. They'll give you space. They'll check in with kindness. They'll understand that peace sometimes speaks louder than conversation. But the ones who only valued your reactions, the ones who fed on your energy, will start to panic. They'll get angry. They'll accuse you of changing. They'll start stalking your social media, trying to figure out what went wrong. And that's when you'll see the truth. They never missed you. They missed the power they had over you. Seneca once wrote, "Fire tests gold, adversity tests the brave." Silence is that fire. It tests relationships. It separates the genuine from the selfish, the loyal from the opportunistic. When you stop explaining yourself, when you stop arguing your worth, when you choose stillness over reaction, you give people the space to show what's real. Those who loved the real you will stay grounded. Those who only loved what they could take from you will fall apart. That's why your silence is such a powerful teacher. It doesn't just protect your dignity, it educates the room. It teaches people that your time, your energy, and your emotions are valuable, that you won't waste them trying to convince anyone to see your worth. When you feel the urge to explain yourself to someone who constantly misunderstands you, stop. Ask yourself this: if they wanted to understand, wouldn't they already have? Then walk away in silence. Let their confusion be their consequence. And remember this truth: your silence doesn't distance you from people. It draws the real ones closer and filters the rest out. Because the moment you go silent, the noise around you starts to reveal its true nature. That's not weakness, that's wisdom. Number 3. Silence is the weapon of emotional control. Let's be real. Most people lose their power because they can't control their emotions. They react too fast, speak too soon, and end up saying things they regret. But the moment you learn to stay silent instead of reacting, you flip the power dynamic completely. Silence is not weakness. It's discipline. It's emotional mastery in action. It's the ability to feel every ounce of anger, pain, or frustration and still say, "I choose peace." That choice? That strength most people don't have. Marcus Aurelius, the great Stoic emperor, once wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." Realize this, and you will find strength. That's the heart of this tip. You can't control what they said. You can't control what they did, but you can control your reaction, and silence is how you do it. Think about it. When someone tries to trigger you, they're testing your emotions. They want your reaction because your reaction gives them power. The more you argue, the more you explain, the more you try to prove your worth, the more control you hand over. But when you go quiet, you starve their ego. You disarm their manipulation. That silence doesn't mean you don't care. It means you've matured. You've evolved beyond the chaos. You've learned that peace is far more valuable than proving a point. Next time someone tries to provoke you, pause. Don't rush to text back. Don't take the bait. Sit with that silence for a moment. Feel your emotions, breathe through them, and remind yourself, I control my energy. The power of silence isn't about ignoring people. It's about mastering yourself. It's about saying, my emotions serve me. I don't serve them. And here's the truth. They'll notice. Your silence will make them uncomfortable. They'll start to question themselves, replay their words, wonder why you're not reacting. That's when the shift happens, because silence creates mystery, and mystery creates power. Remember, when you stay calm, you're untouchable. When you stay silent, you're in control. And when you master your emotions, you become the one thing most people can't handle: unmoved. Number 4. Silence forces respect. Here's a truth most people never learn. When you stop chasing, explaining, or begging for understanding, you command respect. People may not admit it out loud, but your silence speaks a language their ego can't ignore. When you respond to every insult, every guilt trip, every manipulation, you teach them that your energy is cheap. But when you stay quiet, when you walk away without a word, you teach them something far more powerful. Your presence was a privilege. Epictetus, the Stoic philosopher, said it perfectly. If someone speaks badly of you, live in such a way that no one will believe them. That's the essence of real strength. You don't need to defend yourself. Your silence and your actions will speak louder than any argument. When you're silent, You become unpredictable. They don't know if you're hurt, healed, or done. And that uncertainty drives them crazy. People who once took you for granted start replaying every memory, every word, every moment, because they can't stand the fact that you're no longer accessible. Silence makes them face their own reflection. Without your constant responses, they're left alone with their thoughts, their mistakes, their guilt. And that discomfort? That's the beginning of their lesson. Don't rush to explain yourself to people who never truly listened. Don't try to convince them of your worth. Instead, pull back. Detach, watch how quickly they start respecting what they once overlooked. Because silence isn't passive, it's strategic. It forces others to re-evaluate how they treated you. It sets a boundary without saying a single word. It shows that your peace is more important than their validation. Your silence says, "You no longer have access to my energy." And that's when they finally start to see your value. Not because you shouted it, but because your absence made it impossible to ignore. Always remember, words demand attention, but silence commands it. Number 5. Silence creates power through self-mastery. When you choose silence, you're not being weak, you're demonstrating mastery over yourself. The average person reacts instantly to pain, anger, or rejection. But you're different. You've learned that true control begins when you stop reacting and start observing. Marcus Aurelius once said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." Realize this, and you will find strength. That's the foundation of this truth. Silence is the voice of someone who has mastered their emotions. When you stay silent, you're not suppressing your feelings. You're channeling them. You're learning to direct your energy inward, toward growth, rather than wasting it on people who don't deserve your attention. You're becoming your own anchor. Think about it. Every time you choose not to respond to chaos, not to send that long message, not to explain yourself to someone who's already decided how they see you, you're training your mind to be unshakable. You're telling the world, "I am in control of me." That's power most people never reach because they're slaves to impulse. They talk too much, react too fast, reveal too early. But your silence protects you. It keeps people guessing. It keeps your peace sacred. Next time someone provokes you, stop. Don't reply instantly. Breathe. Feel the emotion, but don't act on it. Walk away if you must. Write your thoughts in a journal instead of sending them in a text. You'll notice something incredible. Your mind becomes calm. Your focus returns, and the other person loses their power over you. Because silence isn't just the absence of words, it's the presence of strength. You stop being their puppet. You stop being predictable. You stop feeding their ego with your reactions. And here's the paradox. The quieter you become, the more your energy speaks for you. People sense it. They feel your strength. They know they can't manipulate you anymore. Silence teaches you one of life's greatest lessons. The strongest person in the room is rarely the loudest. It's the one who listens, thinks, and only moves when it's time. So, the next time they expect a reaction, give them nothing but your calm. Because that calm, that's the sound of someone who has reclaimed their power. Number 6. Silence forces respect. They never planned to give you. Let me tell you something powerful. When you stop chasing, you force them to notice what they took for granted. Your silence becomes a mirror reflecting their behavior back at them, and for the first time, they see themselves clearly. It's uncomfortable for them, but it's liberating for you. You see, people get used to your energy when it's always available. They assume your presence is permanent, your forgiveness endless, your care unconditional. But when you go quiet, when you withdraw your attention, their comfort shatters. Suddenly, they start to realize just how much your voice, your presence, and your energy mattered. Epictetus once said, "If someone speaks badly of you, live so that no one will believe it." Silence teaches this same principle. You don't have to defend yourself. Your actions, your growth, and your peace will speak louder than anything you could ever say. By saying nothing, you communicate everything. That you've outgrown childish arguments. That your peace is worth more than being right. That their approval no longer defines your value. Silence becomes your language of dignity. It's you saying, "I won't fight to be understood. I'll just keep evolving." And that evolution, it's what forces respect. Because the truth is, people respect what they can't control. When you no longer react, when you no longer explain, when you stop entertaining their chaos, they realize they can't reach you the way they used to. They'll test you at first. They'll try to poke at your calm. They'll throw shade, use guilt, or bring up the past to see if you'll break your silence. But you won't, because you've learned something they haven't, that your energy is sacred. When you feel the urge to respond just to prove your point, pause. Ask yourself, what do I gain by explaining myself to someone who's already made up their mind? Usually the answer is nothing. Keep your words scarce, your movements intentional, and your focus inward. Every time you hold your tongue, your silence gains more weight. It becomes your armor, your declaration that you are no longer playing small just to be heard. And slowly, their behavior changes. They start to lower their voice when talking about you. They start to hesitate before crossing your boundaries. They start to realize that the version of you who tolerated disrespect no longer exists. That's the quiet revenge of the self-controlled. You don't fight for respect. You earn it by refusing to lose your peace. Because in this world full of noise, the one who stays silent but strong commands the loudest respect of all. Number 7. Your silence creates the mystery they can't escape. Here's the truth. Human nature craves what it can't fully understand. And when you go silent, when you stop explaining yourself, stop posting, stop giving updates, you instantly become unpredictable. And that unpredictability, it drives people crazy. They used to know how to read you, your tone, your reactions, your emotions. They could press a button and expect a familiar response. But now, your silence has rewritten the script. You're no longer the open book they once skimmed through whenever it suited them. You've become a mystery novel they can't put down. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "The more we value things outside our control, the less control we have." When you stop seeking validation or understanding from others, you reclaim that control. You take your power back because you no longer need their reaction to define your worth. Your silence becomes a boundary and a challenge. Let them wonder. Let them check your profile and find nothing. Let them ask mutual friends what you're up to and get no clear answer. Because in the void of your silence, their curiosity becomes their punishment. You see, people don't value what's always available. They value what they can't predict, what they can't fully grasp. And that's what silence gives you. The advantage of being unknown. Every moment you remain silent, you're saying, "I'm not here to prove myself. I'm not explaining my growth. I'm not chasing clarity from the ones who broke my peace." And that drives them insane. Not because they hate you, but because they can't control the narrative anymore. You've taken the story out of their hands. Start mastering the art of mystery. Don't post everything. Don't update everyone. Don't tell people your next move. Show them through results. Your silence will make them fill in the blanks. And here's the beautiful part. They'll always imagine you're doing better than you are, because in silence, the mind projects its fears and regrets. And their biggest fear, that you've outgrown them completely. So stay silent, stay focused. Because silence not only protects your energy, it amplifies your presence. When they can't predict you, they can't manipulate you. And when they can't reach you, they'll finally realize you were the one who truly held the power all along. Your silence isn't emptiness. It's strategy. It's self-respect. It's the sound of someone who finally understands you don't owe anyone an explanation for your peace. Number 8. Silence is your ultimate form of power. Let me tell you something real. Your silence is not weakness. It's dominance disguised as peace. When you choose silence, you're not avoiding, you're deciding. You're choosing not to give your energy, your words, your emotion to something or someone that hasn't earned it. And that's not passivity, that's power in its purest form. Epictetus, one of the great Stoic philosophers, said, "Any person capable of angering you becomes your master." They can anger you only when you permit yourself to be disturbed by them. Think about that. When you react, they win. When you argue, they win. When you explain yourself over and over again, hoping they'll finally understand, they win. But when you fall silent, when you stop feeding the fire, when you stop showing them they can reach you emotionally, you win everything. Because silence is control. It's emotional discipline. It's saying, I'm not wasting my peace, proving a point to someone who doesn't deserve my voice. When you're silent, you're not being ignored. You're observing. You're seeing who respects your space and who gets uncomfortable, because they've lost their ability to provoke you. You're revealing people's true nature without lifting a single finger, and that's the beauty of silence. It exposes what words often hide. When you stop responding, you watch their patterns change. Suddenly, they try harder. They test your patience. They throw indirect. They stalk. They question. They doubt. Why? Because your silence forces them to face themselves. It holds up a mirror to their actions, and they don't like what they see. Remember this: silence doesn't mean you don't care. It means you care too much about yourself to keep participating in cycles that drain you. It means you're not giving your energy to confusion, chaos, or control. And when they realize they can no longer shake you, when they see your peace remains untouched, that's when they'll feel the full weight of losing you, because silence echoes louder than any words you could ever say. From now on, stop explaining yourself to people committed to misunderstanding you. Stop defending your peace. Stop letting them see you react. Instead, let your calmness confuse them, your silence unsettle them, and your success destroy their assumptions. Because here's the truth. The loudest statement you'll ever make is made without saying a single word. Every time you choose silence over chaos, you're proving to the world that you are unshakable, disciplined, and in full control of your emotions. Your silence is your crown. Wear it with pride. Because while they're busy trying to figure you out, you'll be busy building a life they'll never have access to again. Listen closely, because this is where everything comes full circle. You don't need to chase. You don't need to explain. You don't need to prove a single thing to anyone. The moment you stop begging to be understood, the moment you stop trying to fix what was never yours to carry, that's when you become unstoppable. They thought your silence meant defeat. They thought ignoring you would make you break. But here you are, calm, grounded, wiser, and stronger than ever. Because your silence wasn't surrender, it was strategy, it was healing, it was growth. Marcus Aurelius said, The best revenge is to be unlike him who performed the injury. And that's exactly what you've done. You refuse to become bitter. You refuse to react. You refuse to meet disrespect with noise. Instead, you elevated. You reclaimed your control by doing what most people can't. You stayed silent and focused. Because real power doesn't scream. It doesn't beg. It doesn't chase. Real power is when you walk away, without anger, without words, and never look back. It's when your peace becomes too expensive for people who bring chaos. It's when your silence becomes the storm that wakes them up in the middle of the night, replaying every moment they took you for granted. They'll remember how calm you were when they tried to provoke you. They'll remember how you stopped replying. They'll remember how your silence made them face what they've done. And deep down, they'll know they lost someone rare, someone who didn't fight for attention, but fought for inner peace. So, here's my challenge to you. The next time someone tries to test you, don't react. Breathe. Observe. Let them talk. Let them lie. Let them twist the story. Because truth needs no defense. Your energy speaks for itself. Keep your composure. Keep your distance. Keep your silence. Because silence is not weakness. It's evidence of your transformation. It's proof that you're no longer seeking validation from those who never valued you in the first place. From this moment forward, practice emotional discipline like a stoic warrior. Guard your peace like treasure. Choose silence over reaction. Choose calm over chaos. Choose you always. They might talk about you. They might wonder what you're doing. They might even stalk your life in silence. But they'll never have your peace again, because your silence has already spoken the truth louder than any words could. Now, if this message hit your soul, I want you to drop this affirmation in the comments. My silence is my power. I don't chase, I attract. If you felt this, don't just watch. Act on it. Reclaim your voice by using none at all. Walk with confidence. Protect your peace. And let your silence echo in every space that once tried to break you. Until next time, stay calm, stay powerful, and remember, your silence isn't weakness. It's your final word.